A very good afternoon to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today is the 1st March 2026, our Sunday class. So we will continue our sharing from this Surangama Sutra. We are at page 78. Yeah. As usual, we will gather and have our physical puja. Let us compose our mind, develop the Sada, Vidya, and mindfully we shall commence the Puja chanting. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛。Namo 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 观世音菩萨。Namo 观世音菩萨。Namo 观世音菩萨。那么药师佛，那么药师佛，那么药师佛，那么文殊菩萨，那么文殊菩萨，那么文殊菩萨，那么普贤菩萨，那么普贤菩萨，那么普贤菩萨，那么地藏王菩萨，那么地藏王菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨，南无佛菩萨，南无佛菩萨，南无佛菩萨。阿拉汉萨玛萨布多巴嘎哇，布当巴嘎วัน当阿比瓦đề米。สวากาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามิ นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะBuddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Adina dana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami kamesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami Sura meraya maca pama datana Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let us pay respect to Puja. Bedang Pujemi. Dhammang Pujemi. Sanghang Pujemi. Okay, you all can be seated. Then turn to page 6 of the chanting book. we'll do the invocation to the Devas. Invocation to the Devas. In this universe, in the entirety, let the deities or Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which is heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakemokadang Dhamma Sunan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Sunan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Sunan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti Beso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarti Satta Deva Manusanam Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Santitiko Akaliko Ehipaseko Opanaiko Pachyatang Veditabo Vinohiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ujjopatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Nyaya Patipanno Sāvaka Sangho Sami Chipatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yukani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaneyo Anuttarang Punyam Ketang Lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, you can be seated. Then we shall continue from where we stop. Surangama Sutra. We are at page 78, I think. Okay, the subheading is distortion in visual awareness based on karma. So this word based on karma and the word distortion is very useful, very powerful. You have to pay attention to these two words. But if you really can understand the basis of the Buddhist teaching, which is the Buddha Dhamma, the Buddha always refer to the most important right view with regards to the law of karma, karma niyama, whereby he specifically mentioned, we are all born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. And we are what we are because of our karma. So this distortion in visual awareness, you see, when we develop the mind to be aware, that is our primordial mind. Actually, that one you don't need to learn. It's already there. But the problem we live with is you cannot stay with the awareness, the pure awareness nature, which is the second circle within the four circle formation. So most people hardly even know that there exists such a nature within. So what happens is from there, they cannot even be with the pure awareness nature for even a split second. That's why they miss it. And straight away, they from there create the movement of perception, then the input of content of consciousness through their views, opinion, conditioning, and belief system. And that one manifests based on each and every individual's karmic conditioning from the past. That's why we call it the lack of wisdom type of arising of consciousness. So that one become distorted awareness. So the distortion in that awareness is karmically based. Go back to the notes. So that is why the title is specific. Distortion in visual awareness means every time we use our pure awareness nature to be aware, but because we cannot stay in the pure awareness, we develop this visual awareness, which is actually a consciousness. So that distortion in visual awareness based on karma. So that is the title. So I will read on. Ananda said to the Buddha, the World-Honored One has elucidated the teaching concerning causes and conditions, means moral causation, and concerning the existence of things in and of themselves. But we have not yet understood the teaching about inhering and conjoining, and not inhering and conjoining. And now when we hear further that the essence of visual awareness, of which the true awareness is aware, is not the same as the true awareness. So this part is very important. Because visual awareness is you have a visual perception of that thing already. Means your perception has come in. So the visual awareness of which the true awareness is aware is not the same as the true awareness. So now you can follow. Because the pure awareness is before the perception, before the true arising of thought and knowing and the aggregates of mind. So in the seeing is only the seeing consciousness that is the pure perception before the words, before the concept, the arising of perception to memory, before the input of content of consciousness, which may be your views, your opinion, your conditioning, your belief system, and also what we call whatever you hold on as your memory, your knowledge, etc. So that is where people develop the wrong perception. That's why J. Krishnamurti, he saw this, but he put it in a very nice way. He used the word acting according to memory is not acting at all. So this one, I think we have to repeat it. what I have shared with you all before. And learn to see this clearly. It's not acting at all. The ink still not good. I think cannot already. Yeah, cannot. I think this one the one already. Yeah, this one the one already. No, the one already. Take it away. I got another one here. Yeah. So here the word according to memory is not acting at all. The key word is acting according to memory. Why is acting according to memory not acting at all? As I always share with you all. What is memory? What is memory? All of your past experiences, whether good or bad, is your accumulated memory, which are your past experiences, good and bad. Okay, but most of the things that we carry are the negative one. That's why the accumulated negative memory, or what we call psychological memory, where you worry about, where you have phobia, insecurity, fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, lamentation, or whatever that have hurt you before, or trigger of fear before, worry, anxiety, even your own insecurity and your own habitual tendency. These are all negative tendency. And this one has the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion. Even if you accumulated happy memories, the good time, but they are also with delusion and grieving behind. Because that sakayaditi, that belief, the form and mind is you. That one is also an evil root. So at least the happy memories, the joyful memories, like you experience success, or you did something very well, sometimes good things go your way. All these are the happy memories, but they also have the evil roots of sakayaditi. And from sakayaditi, it can trigger off suffering when you cannot get what you want. Well, these are the happy memories. You want it repeated. So the unhappy memory are the fear, the pain, the misery. The happy memory are your pleasure, understand? Your joy, your happiness, your good feeling. But all these are memories, understand? Like our famous Mandarin song, 往事只能回味, as pointed out accurately by Amy, memories of the past, understand? This one is accumulated. It has happened already. It's of the past. And according to Krishnamurti, this memory that you carry in the past is like the dead leaf that has fallen. You understand? It's not a reality. Whatever happened, you cannot deny that it happened, but there is no reality. You can only recollect or recall through memory. That's why 往事只能回味. So when you understand the delusion behind memory, then you will not act according to memory. Well, memory carries with it all the rubbish that has the evil roots. And these are not wisdom, understand? You have to act according to wisdom. Acting according to wisdom is right action. That is the key. So from memory, you should switch through your cultivation to, you should switch through your cultivation to wisdom. That's why Noble Eightfold Path is about wisdom. Acting according to wisdom is true action. true action. Without wisdom, there is no true action. It's deluded, distorted action. So what happened to the Surangama Sutra's teaching is the Buddha is trying to actually teach Ananda this. Because the distortion that arises through visual awareness means visual awareness, instead of staying here in the pure awareness nature, Ananda create the perception and the sound, the five aggregate of form and mind. And this one is retrieved through memory. Understand? Your accumulated experiences, good and bad. So this memory is not wisdom. So if through this you perceive and input the content of consciousness, which could be your views, opinion, conditioning, belief system, and also your whatever psychological memories, or what we call your phobia, your fear, your negativity of mind state. These are all evil roots of all evil, make you evil. And this way of action is definitely deluded action. That's why distorted visual awareness based on karmic conditioning. So you don't take care of karma. Every life you come, you will land up here with the distortion in visual awareness. That's why we call it the wrong perception. In the Theravada teaching, they call it the wrong perception. I forgot the word already. There is a word before sanya. It's the wrong perception. So that thing trigger off the karmic conditioning, the karmic activity and movement that brings about samsara, birth and death, and all the karmic related activity within the conditional existential. Okay, so this one clear. Then we read on, then you will understand better. And now when we hear further that the essence of visual awareness, of which the true awareness is aware, is not the same as the true awareness. Means another layer has been added to our confusion and distress. So now Ananda start to understand this, but he still don't have clear understanding. Then he said, it is my humble wish, with this great kindness, with his great kindness, the Buddha will open our wisdom eye and reveal the enlightened mind in all its purity. With these words, he wept sorrowfully, bowed, and waited to receive the sage instruction. Means he want the Buddha to actually not only explain to him. He used this word to open up. Wait, go back a bit, There is a word he used. Open up the wisdom eye. You see, when it comes to cultivation, you think the Buddha is not compassionate enough to open up your wisdom eye if he can do so. He can't understand. He can only show you the way. Buddha merely show the way. We ourselves must walk the path. Buddha merely show the way. There's a hymn that sing with this rhyme. So understanding this is very important. So that's why Ananda still hope that the Buddha will open their wisdom eye and reveal the true mind or enlighten. Actually, you have to do it. You have to realize it. That's why I always say you have to stabilize your pure awareness nature within until you can realize the true mind. Then you suddenly awaken and realize that you have two minds, understand? One is the primal, the pure awareness nature before the arising of thought, before the knowing. That one that is such the seeing, aware, that's it. The direct seeing, before the words, the concept, the perception and all those things. So understanding that is very important. Okay, now you will read on that. Then the world-honored one took pity on Ananda and the others in the great assembly. He wished to make clear to them the wondrous path of practice of cultivation that would lead them all to the samadhi of the great Dharan. He said to Ananda, "You have a keen memory." Means what? Ananda is famous for what? Repeating all the Buddha's uh, proclamation, understand, or sutta. Means he got elephant memory, understand. So here he said to Ananda, you have a keen memory. Means you have very good memory, but not much use. But it serves only to increase your erudition. You have not yet understood the cultivation of calming the mind from which the subtle insight arises. This statement is very important. The real cultivation is not memory, understand? That's why I used to tell you all in the early day, I used to tell my wife, after 1989, when my nature connect and when I awaken, then I realized how wise J. Krishnamurti was. Acting according to memory is not acting at all. That's why I used to tell my wife, a lot of monks are trapped in memory. Why? Yeah, at that time, their only means of learning is what? Through repeated sutta and all the what we call the Pali verses. So all this repetitive chanting and all those things come from where? Mainly, I use the word mainly, memory, not from wisdom. If it's from wisdom, yeah, then it's totally different. When you understand already, when you chant with understanding, you actually don't have to remember. And when people chant wrongly, you also will understand. There is true understanding. You recite it, you chanted it. So another problem is because he thought he was a cousin of the Buddha and he got very good memory. He thought everything that the Buddha has proclaimed, he can rattle and repeat. And he's like, very good. Yeah. But ability to repeat is not the real cultivation. The real cultivation is the insight that is mentioned. So here, when it talk about cultivation, he said, I repeat this sentence, he said to Ananda, you have a keen memory, but it serves only to increase your erudition, means your erudition means you think you know, but actually you don't know. Because these are all knowledge, not wisdom. You have not yet understood the cultivation of what? Huh? What is that word? Calming the mind from which subtle insight arise. Calming the mind means what? Let the mind settle down. Understand? Become tranquil and still. Understand? The mind that is not calm think a lot. Understand? Needless. So he has not trained his mind to be aware. Understand? That's why without that silent mind, you cannot insight in the phenomena. You cannot awaken. So this is where Ananda go wrong. So here the English word that they use is not really that perfect or good. It should be, you have not yet understood the cultivation of training the mind to be aware actually, or to be in a state of complete silence without thought. Then from there, the direct seeing can lead to the subtle insight. Means you can see things as they are. You can insight into phenomena and awaken to the three universal characteristics. So this is where the important pointer that Ananda need to understand. Then the Buddha said, listen carefully as I give instruction, point by point for your sake. So now you pay attention. And also for the sake of all in the future who have outflow, means you all still haven't realized the, the cessation of form and mind until there is no outflow, until the Monday mind has collapsed, so that they may attain full awakening. So even Arahant who has not developed the ability to cease the mundane mind are still those beings with outflow of thought. They got no more avijja, ignorant, but they still have outflow of thought. So that they may attain full awakening. Where the full awakening is until your mundane mind collapses. Then the full luminous nature, pure awareness nature shine forth. That is the true awakening. Without that one, you cannot understand what that nature is, what that pure awareness nature is. All beings are bound to the cycle of samsara, like I mentioned just now. The karmic conditioning, the distorted visual awareness bring about this karmic conditioning. That's why all beings are bound to the cycle of samsara, means birth and death. Ananda, due to the false distinction between the two kinds of distorted awareness. So without this distorted awareness, there is no karmic connection. Samsara will not actually continue. Wherever these two kinds of awareness arise, beings undergo the karma of the cycle, means the karmic process. What are these two kinds of distorted awareness? The first is the distorted awareness based on the karma of the individual beings. The second is the distorted awareness based on the karma beings share. So there are two types, the individual and the one that is shared by the beings that trigger it all. As you read this section of text, you should experience terror. You should be shocked. The Buddha tells Ananda that all beings of this world are bound to mukya, the cycle of birth and death, passing through a succession of life. They spin around like the wheel of an automobile. Sometimes being born in the heavens, sometimes being born in the hells, sometimes they become asuras, sometimes they are human beings. Sometimes they become animals, sometimes they are hungry ghosts, etc. The cycle of birth and death keeps on turning under the power of these two kinds of distorted awareness, which result. Oh, yeah. Oh, context here. Yeah. Okay, I read again. The cycle of death and rebirth, of birth and death, keeps on turning on the power of these two kinds of distorted awareness, which results when the conscious mind makes false distinction, makes with wrong view. This distortion in awareness stem from individual and shared karma. So these two, I think you already understand. For any karma you create, both individual and shared, there is an appropriate consequence which you must undergo. If you are virtuous and act for the good, means acting according to wisdom, you may be reborn in the heavens. If you commit offenses, you will fall down into the hells. The process is entirely impartial, where it's a nature's law. Okay, then we go to the commentary part. What is the distorted awareness based on individual karma, Ananda? Let us consider the example of a person with an eye disease. At night, when he looks at the lamp, it seems to him that circular band of light surround the lamp and the entire spectrums. Surround the lamp with the entire spectrum of light. What do you think? Are the circle of color light that appear around the lamp at night an aspect of the lamp light or an aspect of his own visual awareness? If the circle of color light were an aspect of the lamp light, Ananda, wouldn't they be seen by other people too, besides the person with the eye disease, instead of being visual only to him? On the other hand, if the circle of color light were an aspect of the person's visual awareness, wouldn't his awareness itself be colored? If that were the case, what kind of thing would this color awareness be? Move it up, Okay, we go back to the sutta. Individual karma is what makes you different from other people. It is created through wrong thought or deluded thoughts, or great expectation of the ego or self. In the analogy, other people represent the Buddha and the great bodhisattvas. The people with eye disease represent ordinary human beings. The lamb represent resent. Oh, represent, not resent, represent. The lamb represent true reality. Since when the Buddha and Bodhisattva look, they see true reality, while ordinary human beings see a distorted reflection. This one I have explained before, because these Bodhisattvas and the Buddha, they are enlightened beings. They have the direct seeing. They see from the pure awareness nature and the sound without the words, without distortion. But the one that ordinary people see is from memory and the sadhana, which is not from the pure awareness nature, not the direct seeing. That's why they always see different things. And everybody also see differently. Sometimes they argue, they like challenge each other. Then they come out with all their views, opinion, and conditioning, right and wrong, and all these things. That's how the conflict arises in the world. Misunderstanding arises in the world. That the way you perceive things is dependent on your knowledge, your conditioning, your upbringing, your exposure, and all those things. So each and every one are different. For those who are trained in different fields, they will perceive according to their specialty. Like if it's an art student, you ask him to perceive a visual awareness of certain thing. He will perceive it from the perspective of an art student and he is trained in. But if he's a technical guy, like an engineer, or doctor, you ask him to perceive, he will perceive it from his own aspect of expertise. Yeah. So these are all the reason for ordinary living beings' perception to be wrong perception. So this ordinary living being means they are not enlightened beings. They are just puthujjana. Okay, I read on. Further, Ananda, if the circle of color light were not an aspect of the light, the lamplight, then when people with a this is a new section, not the old one. Then when the people with the diseased eye glance around him at a screen, a curtain, a table, or a sleeping mat, he would see the color circles surrounding them as well. And if the circle of colored light were not an aspect of his visual awareness, he would not see the circle at all. Why then does he in fact see them? Therefore, you should know that although the colors are in fact intrinsic to the lamplight, the illusionary, this word illusionary is very important. Circles of color light arise from the disease in his eye. However, although the circle of color light and his awareness of them are due to the disease of his awareness of the disease is not itself disease. In short, you cannot say that the illusionary circle of color light are an aspect of the lamplight or an aspect of his visual awareness. But you also cannot say that they are not an aspect of the lamplight or of his visual awareness. So in the same way, in the analogy of the two moons, the second moon is neither the real moon nor a reflection of the real moon. When pressure is applied to the eyeball, one sees two moons. Those who understand this will not argue that the second moon, which results from the pressure on the eye, muffiram, is the real moon, or that it is not the real moon, or further, that it is an aspect of visual awareness, or is not an aspect of visual awareness. The same is true of illusionary circle of light around the lamp. They arise from the disease in the eye. Can you say now that they are an aspect only of the lamplight or only of the visual awareness? You cannot. Even less can you distinguish them as neither an aspect of the lamplight nor an aspect of the visual awareness. In the analogy of the person with the eye disease, his awareness of the color represents ordinary being's distorted awareness, while his awareness of his disease represents the pure seeing of the Buddha and the Bodhisattva. So the second moon is analogous to the circle of color seen by the person with the eye disease. What is meant by the distorted awareness that is based on shared karma? Ananda in Jabbuapi sees there are 3,000 landmasses. In their midst lies a great continent, and in that continent from east to west, there are 2,300 large countries. On the various islands of the ocean, there may be 200 or 300 countries, or in some cases, only 1 or 2 countries, or as many as 30, 40, and 50. Suppose, Ananda, that among them is an island where there are 2 countries only, and that the people of one of this country share the experience of unfortunate circumstances. It may be that the person in that country see many inauspicious phenomena. They may see two suns, or two moons, or rings, or half rings of white, or color light around the sun and the moon. They may see meteor and comet striking down, or across the sky, or else patterns of inauspicious energies in a bowl shape, or in the shape of eyes above and beside the sun, or bands of light reaching across the sky. Many such inauspicious phenomena as these, only the people of the country do not see them at all, or even hear of them. Another, I will now compare these situations in order to clarify them. First, let us consider the distortion or distorted visual awareness based on beings' individual karma. When the person with an eye disease sees the illusionary circle of color light around the lamp, the circle seems to him to be external object. But in fact, what the person sees is a consequence of the disease. The disease places a distorting strain on his visual awareness. It is not the color light that plays the strain. However, what is aware of the disease is not defective. In the same way, all that you can now see, the mountain, the river, the many lands, and the various forms of life, are the result of a disease that have existed in your visual awareness since time without beginning. The essence of visual awareness and what it is aware of cause what seems to be external phenomena to appear. Once we add another layer of understanding to our enlightenment, our awareness, we skip the note first, and what it is aware of become defective. While the awareness that is added to enlightenment is defective, however, the awareness that is the fundamental enlightened understanding awareness is not defective. That is the true awareness that is aware of the defective awareness. It's not itself defective. That true awareness, which is aware of the essence of awareness, is not to be confused with the ordinary visual awareness or the awareness of sound or any of the other type of awareness. So this one is actually not easy to comprehend. You see, when you develop that direct seeing is before the knowing, like I explained before. But human beings seeing is distorted because of memory. And when the memory come in, it includes your views, opinion, conditioning, and belief system. So all this actually created distortion. That you based on that to act, to see, that it gives rise to karmic consequence. So distorted visual awareness is actually false awareness, or what we call deluded manifestation. So the Buddha used the word, you add another layer. You know what is the meaning of another layer? In the direct seeing, you see things as they are. No word, no concept, nothing in it. Adding another layer means you go to memory and retrieve and created the word. What are the words you create? The mountain, the river, the human being, the house, all of the external form that you perceive, even vibration, sound, or whatever. So that is the layer that you create. That's why through that you created the phenomenal world. The phenomenal world of consciousness. This is a layer living being add to the true mind, the pure awareness. So with this layer, then it starts to delude you. Because when you don't have the direct seeing to understand the difference between wisdom and memory, then the second layer created by memory, views, opinion, concept, all the distorted seeing becomes a phenomenal world of consciousness. And this one is like real to you, understand? You keep on holding on to it, grasping onto it, you give meaning. Then you cling. You believe this is real, understand? And you want to own them, you want to possess them. But through the teaching, we know all of these are consciousness, mind-made. Then, like the Buddha said, it's like an illusionist, understand? A magician. So this one create illusion for you to see. So this existential world is a phenomenon of consciousness. It's also an illusionary world of existence. It is like a magician or illusionist that create illusion for you to think, grasp, and fight over issue and things. And because of this layer of added consciousness actually created the whole problem of karmic and all those things. And it is because of this I use the word it lure and entice the living being. It lures you into it and it entices you that it creates a chaotic phenomenon of consciousness. This one is full of problems when you don't have the wisdom, when you base on knowledge and memory, and you want to fight over all these things. Like the famous saying of Wailing, originally there is nothing. Where can the dust alight? It's in fact fighting your own delusion. All these are not a reality. 本来无一物，何处惹尘埃? There is no such thing as a dust. If you don't hold, you don't think, you're not deceived by this phenomenal world, then it has no power over you, understand? Then this whole phenomenal world of consciousness loses its power, means it like collapses in front of you. But you still have the wisdom of the conditional Dhamma and the unconditioned Dhamma. The unconditioned Dhamma will see the falseness of this, the unreality of all this, the delusion. But the conditioned world, which is subject to karma, has a different reality. Understand? The conditioned Dhamma still exists and is as real as it can be. As long as you understand this, then you are not deluded by it. That is what the fifth patron, Hong Ren, told Hui when he explained to him about the Dhamma Sutra. Then when he reached the point, he said, this mind, which is the mundane mind, you must learn how to use it and yet not deceived by it. This is the second layer that deceives you. So once you have the understanding of the unconditioned mind, you see this very clearly. Then you can live life. And there is no more problem with all this. Understand? This one is as real as it can be. Real life and existence has its own reality. That's why wonderful existence manifests. Understand? Otherwise, how can there be wonderful existence within a chaotic world? Understand? Without wisdom, this chaotic world will be there. Because that layer that created the illusion, the attachment, the clinging, and the grasping is very powerful. That's why I'm not able to have the stability or awareness to see the danger of this memory, acting according to memory, which is your knowledge. your views, opinion, condition, which is your mundane mind that create this layer of memory. And Krishnamurti actually went in further. He said, not all memory are bad. It's only the psychological memory that has karmic consequences. That one you cannot cling, you cannot attach. Understand? Like your fear, your phobia, your insecurity. Why you want to hold on to it? Understand? They are not intrinsic within your nature. They are dependent originating mind state. Arise through what? Your own sakayaditi, your own wrong view, wrong understanding. That's why it trigger of fear. How did it arise? Fear was never there before that, but through your wrong view, you projected your thought, you trigger off fear to what? Worry about what is going to happen in the future, which is not a reality. Understand? Or you recall memory of your past. It's also not a reality anymore. Past is already gone. But through thought, it kept all this like alive. That's why that movement away from the present moment create distortion. And all this fear, worry, anxiety, negative emotion come through thought, the movement of thought. That's why thought, you must look at it. Thought has its own purpose and usage. But if you don't know how to use thought, if you don't have the Dhamma, the double info path, then thought become wrong thought. And that is where suffering arises. So understanding all this is very important. Then you see clearly how thought divide and create the duality that trap living being, created all the conflict, all the argument, the misunderstanding, the war, like what is going on in the world. It's all through words, thought, ideology. So the Surangama Sutra is a very beautiful teaching that goes into the core of the teaching. Means it involves the understanding of the source, the true mind, then the manifestation from the true mind into the mundane creation of the phenomenal world. So the four circle formation can all be understood through this Surangama Sutra teaching. Yeah? Okay, we go back to the notes. That is the true awareness that is aware of the defective awareness is not itself defective. The true awareness, which is aware of the essence of awareness, is not to be confused with the ordinary visual awareness. Ordinary visual awareness means puthujjana that use memory, views, opinion, conditioning to actually manifest that visual memory or visual awareness, or the awareness of sound, or any of the other type of awareness. To restate your visual awareness of me now, and of yourself, and of the 10 classes of being that can be seen in the world, is a defective awareness, understand? But there is the mundane perception. It is not the awareness that is aware of the defect. The true nature of the essence of visual awareness is not defective, and therefore it is not what is ordinarily referred to as visual awareness. You go to note 49. You know, go down. You read note 49. This true nature, which is not defective, is your Buddha nature or pure awareness nature. Go back to just now. Okay. Ananda, consider the distortion in visual awareness experienced by the people of one country. In response to their shared karma. Compare it to the distorted visual awareness experienced by the person whose eyes are diseased in response to his individual karma. The situation of the people with the eye disease and the people of that one country are similar. in that the illusory circle of color light are a consequence of the eye disease, while the inauspicious phenomena seen by the people of that country are due to the what is this English word? I also cannot understand the meaning. Huh? Myanmar, miasma, energy that arises from their shared karma. Never mind, just ignore first. Both the individual karma and the shared karma have come into being because of distortion in awareness that have existed since time without beginning. Means the conditioning over millenniums. It means our birth and death, that form and mind that has gone through that evolution. That's why the coding of the DNA, everything. If line after line you continue with it, conditioning, and it will actually create that distortion. Because this karmic thing over the long period of time, it is like millennium of conditioning. And it is not easy to root out. There's a habitual tendency, rigid views. They are not easy to root out. That's why sometimes when you study or research into, I think for our case is the human life, human life. I think for the time being we can separate out all the other type of beings. You look at human being alone. If you look at the way we evolve, even our own Earth, planet Earth, we look at all the various civilization, the various being that has been born. Of course, at the moment, think the Chinese civilization and culture and the Indian civilization, they are the two oldest civilization within our Mother Earth. And our DNA that we carry are very different. Similarly for the other maybe races. So it is due to all this karmic conditioning over the millennium. That's why you go back to the notes, the word, he used the word distorted. So here, because of distortion in awareness that have existed since time without beginning, that's why living being is just the way they are. So if you don't take care of karma, you don't build up your karmic nature and your spiritual nature, when you come, you become like no different. But if you build up your karmic nature and spiritual nature through the Dhamma cultivation and understanding, when you come, like my nature, this segment of my life, I may be born Chinese with all the conditioning, DNA, all those things. But my spiritual nature and karmic nature gave me the understanding to be different. And from there, it evolved out because it knows why this segment of the life, why it need to come and take this type of birth in this type of condition. Even my parents, they are being, you can say, chosen, but not by me, through my understanding. Those that have affinity, the pure wish happening. That's why all these are the interacting causes and conditions and movement. So what I am trying to explain to you is, even though this distortion in awareness that have existed for very long, but the individual that come based on their karmic pass and their spiritual natures pass, you can be different. You can evolve differently. But most people are trapped within that conditioning. It's just like most living beings. They are trapped by their own delusion since the early millennium until now because they hardly encounter the true Dhamma understanding. And most of the time, when the sasana is not around, they are completely lost. Even those that have the, what I should say, affinity, the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, when that sasana is not there, most of them are lost too. But you have the understanding, you take the vow, the bodhisattva way, then you develop the right understanding to affirm his adhitthana or affirmation for all this right view, right understanding of the Dhamma teaching to continue to arise within your bodhi mind, to activate and manifest, then you become different. Then even during non-sasana, your nature will manifest and create these causes and conditions for you to go the path of cultivation according to your aspiration and vows that you have actually manifested. So all this are the understanding that you can still break free from all the what they call distortion in awareness that have existed since time without beginning. You don't have to worry. When you come, you become different. Like this segmented line, my nature come. It know what to do. It's not entangled. It's not confused. It does not fall into the delusion like normal puthujjana. Okay, I read on. Nevertheless, all beings will outflow, and all the lands in the 10 directions, including the Saha world with its 4 great seas, and with the 3,000 landmasses of Jambu-vipa, are fundamentally the enlightened, wondrous, luminous mind that understands and has no outflow. The condition necessary for them all to arise are the illusion or the illusionary disease distortion in visual awareness. So this keyword, the condition necessary for them all to arise are the illusionary outflow. Illusionary disease distortion in visual awareness. So in the sixth sense door, in awareness of sound, and in all the other type of awareness. When these conditions are present in combination, the beings and land come into being. When these conditions are not, the beings and land cease to be. This is based on our understanding of causes and conditions. Because our world is a conditioned world. When causes and conditions fall into place, then things arise. That's why I always say, whatever that is dependent originating will follow that law of dependent origination, the dwelling. So when causes and conditions are there, phenomena manifest. When causes and conditions cease to be, phenomena cease to be. And no reality. Everything arises and passes away based on causes and conditions. That's why for those who have gone through the development of cultivation and have the wisdom, they will know and understand. That's why even my teacher Achayantra, he finally come to realize. He said, only mighty nature rolling by. There is nothing in between. Nature's law operating. That's why when you understand that, then what is there to be right and wrong and argue about. It's only mighty nature, dependent on the causes and conditions that each and every individual introduce. The karmic patterning, conditioning will flow or move. It is a big movement, a big activity. And the understanding of it needs profound wisdom. That's why you need to go the Bodhisattva way, that develop the extensive understanding and experience. Otherwise, you cannot comprehend this very, very complex movement. That's why the Buddha even mentioned, he used the word inconceivable. It's the first thought of ignorance, that condition living being to fall until what it is now. You cannot understand on. It's inconceivable. Even the karmic process is very, very complex, very complicated. It involves so much things that manifest and move. So all this, you need that supreme vehicle teaching cultivation to develop the all-knowing understanding and wisdom. That's why you need to perfect them all. Okay, I read on. When you remain entirely untouched by conditions, this is the best. Whether or not they are present in combination, you can move the arrow to the side or not. No, move it to the side. Cannot go to the side. You're that green arrow. No, you're that green arrow. So that it don't block the word. Thank you. Oh, the control is not your side there. Oh, okay. No, I understand. Okay, I read again. When you remain entirely untouched by condition, whether or not they are present in combination, you bring to an end of all the causes of coming into being and ceasing to be. At that moment, you will awaken to perfect enlightenment, which is your true nature, and which neither comes into being nor ceases to be. So now you understand, huh? It is the pure fundamental true mind, the fundamental everlasting enlightenment. That's why I say that pure awareness nature is unborn. It's the primordial. Means it was there even before the beginning of time. Because from there, all things arise. So here the description is very good. When you remain entirely untouched by condition, means what? You have developed the enlightenment, the awakening. You have developed the understanding that this phenomenal world of consciousness is unreal. No meaning. They are all dependent originating causes and conditions. And he know you, he know me. No one born, no one died. Nothing. Means this phenomenal world of consciousness evolved by itself through the nature's law. So when you understand all this, that's why I used to share with you in the early days, you remember? I said when you come to that realization that is so profound and so stable, then you reach a point where you know, think also like that, don't think also like that. No different. So, yeah, the moment you think, you create. You don't have the wisdom, you entangle. Then what happened to your brain? What happened to your mind? It doesn't really want to understand and know anymore. Yeah, that is the, you call it what, accumulation of understanding. Means the unreality of the phenomenal world of consciousness and the forming mind. That's why during that time, cessation take place, understand? Where you no longer hold on to anything, no more creation. This is what exactly is meant here. When you remain entirely untouched by condition, means you understand the phenomenal world is unreal. not what you think. And he know you, he know me, and all those things. Then what happens is, whether or not they are present in combination, you bring to an end of all the causes of coming into being and ceasing to be. Means what? No manifestation, no arising, no more birth and death. Then what happens? At that moment, you will awaken into perfect enlightenment, which is your true nature. You will realize, you can say the oneness nature, or the source or whatever you return is. But you cannot talk about it. Because that is the unconditioned nibbana. You cannot talk about it. It is complete cessation of form and mind. Nothing. Then that perfect enlightenment, which is your true nature, and which neither come into being or cease to be. Here is the unborn, understand or not? Because it's the unborn, you will never die, understand or not? That's why there is no birth and no death. Then it is the pure fundamental mind, the fundamental everlasting enlightenment. These are all the words that is being used to describe. So with this, I think it's quite clear right now. Okay, we end here, just nice. So next part is visual awareness exists neither through inhering nor in conjoining. So this is the next part. I mark this page. Then just remember, awareness-based meditation. You only need to train your mind to be completely silent without thought, aware within. So the four support also helps relax body and mind, then maintaining the awareness until the pure awareness nature stabilizes. So stabilizing the pure awareness nature is very important. For those who have not stabilized it, maybe you can still continue with your training. Just relax body and mind, maintain awareness. And you'll find that not easy. You are used to your own earlier skillful means through whatever method, technique, or what. You can also develop it through that whatever skillful means. Means whatever that suits you, you develop the inner awareness, mindfulness. Then when the mindfulness stabilizes until the mind becomes very quiet and very still, then it's the same. That is your true mind, which is the pure awareness nature. And when you are able to really develop it until it becomes passaddhi. Passaddhi is an enlightenment factor. It's the tranquility of mind, stillness of mind. The mind becomes very quiet, very still. No thought, no movement. So whether you do anapanasati or mindfulness or whatever, or even chanting or what, the mind will settle down until it becomes very quiet and very still. So the fourth support is actually a very direct way. You should try it. Relax body and mind, silent. Actually, to meditate is to relax. Feel good, relax. But maintain awareness. Don't fall asleep. Unless you are very tired, you need to rest your mind. Then you can let it like go into the unconscious and rest inside there. But the moment you have rested enough, maintain awareness and let this awareness stabilize. No need to know, no need to do anything. Once the pure awareness nature stabilizes, then you will progress. You will develop a lot of progress. Then the understanding will start. That's why the first step is to be ever mindful. Then use it to meditate to be heedful. To be ever mindful is not difficult. There are two ways to develop it. One is the formal meditation. Once you can develop it in the formal meditation, then when you come out of it, your daily mindfulness will actually arise very easily. So stability of mindfulness is very important. During formal meditation, the four support, relax, maintain awareness, and silence. Don't try to know. Don't try to do whatever arrive away, finish. And just relax, maintain awareness, and let that consciousness settle down. Let the thinking slow down. Do not dwell into anything. Do not cling to anything. Whatever arises, away, finish. Let it settle down. Don't try to know, don't try to do. Don't end up creating more thinking, thought activity. These are all actually waste of energy because the thinking take up a lot of energy. That's why emotion, fear, especially negative emotion, fear, worry, anxiety actually exhausts you and stress you out. It drains a lot of your energy, especially your life force energy. That's why most people that have fear, worry, anxiety, stress, emotion, or emotional people, their life was very weak, and they are very prone to disease and sickness. Because all this negative energy, actually they are very detrimental to your bodily cell formation. They can cause your cells to mutate. Then it develop chronic type of cell structure. The crystal inside is very messy. And because these are evil roots of all evil, it will make you evil. It will cause your mind state to be very negative. Whereas when you know how to meditate, the awareness-based meditation, you just relax, maintain awareness. Then the mind becomes very quiet, very peaceful, very tranquil, and without stress. Then you become sensitive. Then whatever movement from that nature, you will feel it, you will detect it. That's why after that you will understand why stress is very, very negative. Why all these that manifest through wrong view, wrong thought, they will start to become obvious to you, clear to you. Then you will reach a point where you cannot be in those states anymore, where these are deluded, conditioned mind state that has a lot of stress, suffering, misery inside. So not worthwhile. That is not life. That is suffering. Okay, now I will set the alarm so that you can continue your 45 minutes of awareness-based meditation. And when the 45 minutes are up, I will ring the bell. Mindfully come out of meditation. Try to maintain whatever inner peace, inner calmness, inner awareness that you have developed for as long as you can. Okay, now we open up for second session, which is meditation, reporting, followed by whatever question that you might have. Okay, I think there's comment by Alicia earlier on after the talk. It's a wonderful sharing, Brother Devas.
Hi, good afternoon. This is still很感恩大。好一段日子我们没有上课了。
呀，对对对。
是 Actually, Brother 其实刚才是你读完那段什么 distorted awareness
对，
我忽然
awareness，
我忽然间明白到，好像你读掉好像很怎么样讲，好像很难明白，不懂怎么 suddenly 我静下来我就明白了。
Because after you're able to develop the inner awareness, 你一静下来啊 the word suddenly shine for like have meaning. Because in your silent inner awareness, you can see that distorted manifestation of awareness after you have developed it. Where before that, we always act according to memory. Then we always focus issue and things based on our views, opinion, conditioning, and belief system. So all these are the distorted visual awareness that manifest from mundane people. But when you are able to develop the awareness-based meditation with the inner awareness, you suddenly realize you don't act according to memory. The inner awareness can have the direct see, the direct understanding of what is going on and all those things. Then you understand that word very deeply, the distorted visual awareness, that word become like easily stand out. Because most of the time we don't have an accurate understanding of what the world is, what the reality is. Like the Buddha said, thing is just the way it is. But how come everybody perceive it differently? How come sometimes before we develop the Dhamma understanding, we also know different from other people? We also have our views, our opinion, our conditioning, our fear, our phobia. All this keep on manifesting. Where there is the mundane mind that is still without the Dhamma understanding, without the understanding of the two mind that living being actually has. And because of that, they don't know how to act. And because of that delusion, it created this distortion, or what we call wrong perception at every moment of sense of consciousness. So to develop this understanding, you need to develop the wisdom, the silent mind to observe, see, and listen attentively to develop the understanding. Once you can do that, that's why for your case, the moment you're silent, then the word like suddenly got meaning, shine for, and become like very clear. Actually, this topic is not easy. Normal people read, they don't know what is going on. If I don't explain to you all, acting according to memory is not acting at all. You all cannot develop the understanding on it. It's not easy. Very good. You continue here.
Yeah, brother，就因为当你读，我用我自己的什么，就说我用我的头脑去 understand by the word of the English 我很难明白。但是我一下子他就 like no， 他的 meaning 就 suddenly 当你静下来。
对，
所以这个就是很奇妙。所以就想在这里讲一下这个，所以因为当我一明白了，我很欢喜，我就想就想打几个字跟
对，very good. No wonder at 4:02你就打 wonderful sharing. That's why for those who have developed the cultivation, they will understand there's a lot of joy. There's a lot of joy. Because this is like understanding life and the secret of life, and this is very profound understanding. Then 它整个宇宙the whole universe, the whole manifestation of existence and life, like you have penetrated. If mind make a day, then the meaning of the Sakyamuni Buddha's teaching, the words become very clear. Mind is the forerunner of all things. Mind is chief. When mind arise, all things arise. Then mind make a day. 一切为心造. So all these words become very meaningful because the whole of existence, creation, is manifested by consciousness through the mundane thinking, through the mundane perception and reaction and stirring. That's why from that second circle, the pure awareness nature, the living beings straight away get entangled with the third and fourth circle. That's why they cannot break that delusion, that distorted visual awareness, or that wrong perception. They always perceive a phenomena or anything that arises within the sixth sense door with their own perceived knowledge, their own memory, their own views, opinions, sometimes with their evil root of delusion, selfishness. They approach it with selfishness. And sometimes it's because of their fear, their emotion, their insecurity, they act that way. And sometimes because of their phobia. And their craving, their desire actually create a lot of this wrong thought, karmic negativity that trigger off the whole mess of suffering and karmic conditioning without living being knowing it. That's why it's not easy to develop the understanding of the Dhamma, to understand life, and to have the joy, the clarity of all this. Then wonderful existence manifests, just like what Kuan Yin Bodhisattva came to realize. When you realize true emptiness, Chân Kong, Miao Yu, and existence become wonderful. That's why realizing true emptiness is very important. When you realize true emptiness, you have profound understanding of the unconditioned Dhamma. And that one will break free your mind from all the delusion created by distorted wrong view or wrong understanding, born of memories, born of accumulated views, opinion, condition, belief systems. All these are views, opinion, ideology that leads to division, that leads to like duality that created the suffering world, the chaotic phenomenal world. All this duality, they manifest from words, from the thought. Words divine, thought also divine. Thought give rise to concept, ideology, to divine, to create misunderstanding, argument, suffering, misery. Once you can have the inner awareness to see all this, then you realize by understanding all this yourself, you understand the world. Because all this manifests from mind. That's why mind make our day. 一切唯心造. Then you start to understand that mind is the forerunner of all things. Mind is chief. When mind arrives, all things arise. Actually, the whole thing is about the mundane mind, the thinking mind that lack wisdom. So once you penetrate this, you will penetrate the Dhamma. And the Buddha in the Sutta used this word. You achieve full enlightenment, great awakening. Means you cease that mind and return to the source and penetrate that nature. And you start to develop clear, penetrative understanding of what that nature is. That's why this Surangama Sutra is very, very unique, very powerful. This is the reason why later on it can unravel the 50 Divan Samadhi manifested by the 5 aggregates. Each of the aggregate, they have 10 deviant samadhi. So 5 times 50 is the 50 deviant samadhi, means wrong samadhi, wrong way of using the mind to develop the so-called samadhi power. Because samadhi is not concentration, not energy field. That's why when you don't understand that, you use it to attach and cling to thought-based meditation and energy field. All the fantastic meditation or manifestation that manifests from concentration, that one is deviant samadhi. It can distort your understanding and make you feel egoic and develop all the sakkayaditi to continue with the energy field development. Then it has its karmic consequences. It will backfire. And you will have this wrong thought that tell you, oh, once you are able to achieve all this, then you try to relate to what the theory tell you. Oh, this is samadhi. I can do things that other people cannot do. My mind is so powerful, it can manifest vision, like see past life, read people's thought, everything, have the heavenly eye on it. But that mind is for you to develop wisdom so that you are not deceived by the phenomenon of consciousness and form. It's not to perform all this psychic ability and magic. That one has nothing to do with understanding life. The secret of life has nothing to do with wisdom that will manifest from it. So all this, they are very important sharing and teaching. That's why this Surangama Sutra end up as the first sutta that will disappear during the Dhamma ending age. Because when this sutta disappear, living being actually has nothing solid to actually understand the true meditation. Because awareness-based and thought-based, they are so different. And the manifestation is so different. That's why after that, the focus is no more on the understanding. Once this sutta is gone, the explanation of the four circle formation and all these things cannot be understood. Because only cultivator of the way who have gone through the transformative awakening, we are the Surangama understanding. That's why after that they can share all this explanation and put it into a sutta. That's why it's called the Supreme Vehicle Teaching. Then when you compare this to the normal provisional teaching, or what we call the sainthood way superficial teaching, even though it can bring about enlightenment, realization of Nibbana, but the teaching is so different. That's why this will be the first sutta to disappear. Once this one is gone, in fact, cultivator of the way will find it very difficult to understand the teaching. But this is the only sutta that dwells deep into the real awareness nature. And this is the one that even go in deeper than what the Heart Sutta actually teach. What the Heart Sutta teach is the final understanding of the Sana. He just say when Avalokiteshvara, means Panyin Bodhisattva, was cultivating the Prajna Paramita Sutta, he illuminated the five skandha and found that they are all empty. This is the final summary of the Sana. He illuminated. How he illuminated is not explained in the sutta. So, who developed the ability to illuminate is the mind that has transformed that can insight in the phenomena. It's all referring to the silent mind. Then even the six patriarchs, the three hallmarks of healing, it's just the final outcome of his realization. You realize or not? The first hallmark is what? To realize no thought. To reach the state of no thought, 无念的境界. And to do that is to develop the inner awareness, understand? Without the pure awareness, without thought, you cannot have a state of mind that is without thought. Impossible. You can do it, try and find out. But when you develop this pure awareness, stabilize it, then you realize you can be in this state of no thought, no problem. And once you are in this state of no thought, means you are at the second circle, pure awareness nature there. And from there, you use it to develop understanding. May silence your mind to see things as they are, to awaken. To insight into phenomena means let the phenomena tell you the story and you awake. Just like Alicia listened with the silent mind and she awakened. Yeah, this is what will happen when your stability or understanding is already there. Then any of the first or second or third turning, it will trigger off further awakening. It's like Huineng. Why when he listened to the fifth patriarch, Hongren, the moment he reached that stanza where he explained the meaning, this mind, which is the mundane mind, you must know how to use it to live life for the purpose of understanding the conditioned world and the existential, but not to be deceived and deluded by it. That is a very profound shift that awakened their nature profoundly. It's like finally he understood the secret of life. And this is a message my nature also try to share because of Maitreya's request. This true Dhamma, 请你把正法传下去. That this true understanding is very penetrating. Both the conditioned and the unconditioned, you must penetrate them. And to understand this, it's not easy. That's why with this mind, the first hallmark of healing, once you are able to recite the mind with pure awareness, stability of daily mindfulness, then you can see things as they are. You can see the dwelling. You can insight into phenomena to awaken to the three universal characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Then after that, the second hallmark of healing will appear. The second hallmark of healing is no mark of the self, no mark of others, no mark of Dhamma, no mark of existence, everything. All these are marked, manifested by the mundane mind. The layer of visual awareness, the living being that is deluded, actually put it in to entangle themselves. Then once you penetrate the second hallmark, then you will reach a very stable, profound understanding. Then you will realize the deeper state of enlightenment, which is the cessation process. It happened very easily because once you understand the second hallmark of feeling, no more, all the conditioned world you will not hold, you will not grip, like what the Surangama Sutra explained. When you can go beyond causes and conditions, nothing in this conditioned world can affect you. Then during that time, you will realize profound enlightenment. The cessation of form and mind will go in, and you become very different. That's why this teaching is very unique. Then after that, not long, you develop the fourth support, locate the gateway to your nature. Then insight into that nature, stabilize it. Then with that ability to shine forth, means illuminate that nature, until that nature shine forth, means the mundane mind must collapse. Once the mundane mind collapses, only the third stage of winning, the third hallmark of winning, can manifest. 无住的境界 means the mind that has no dwelling. The mind that dwells is the mundane mind, very gross, still with the delusion. The supramundane mind with the wisdom doesn't dwell, but it knows everything is unreal, false. That's why in the early day I teach you all, learn to see form with the awareness, mindfulness. Then see the unreality of form through its characteristic, through the direct see, through all the cultivation. Then after that, you will have the ability to see beyond form. Then after you penetrate beyond form, you learn to see mind, the unreality of mind. Then only you can see beyond mind to realize the first stage, or first hallmark of winning, the mind that is without thought. Your thought has got no power over you. The phenomenal world of consciousness and form has no power over you. And then only you can realize the true Dhamma, the real understanding of cultivation. That's why all these are very beautiful and we should actually rejoice because Alicia able to understand and bring about the condition for all this to be shared. And just now the summary I give you is very important. I want to explain to you why this Surangama Sutra is so different from the other Mahayana Sutta, even the famous Heart Sutta and the Sixth Patriarch Platform Sutta. These two are very unique and powerful sutra. Of course, the other sutta are about the cultivation of the Bodhisattva way, orienting and all those things. So, all this, once you can develop the cultivation with right understanding and progress accordingly, the understanding that arises from it is very, very powerful, very penetrating. Okay, Alicia, back to you. Sadhu.
Do Brother Teo, 感恩 for 你的 sharing. Brother Teo, actually, it's beyond my wildest dream to understand.
Yeah, 因为你以前那个 depression 啊，到现在啊 actually is a very very vast difference. That's why you will have that understanding. Or you're really beyond your wildest dream. There's no way from a situation where you are so caught in depression and without Dhamma understanding, you can through the last 10 over years actually turn around and become so beautiful. That's why all these are the causes and conditions and the affinity with the Triple Gem. Because you have a lot of affinity with great beings. Your nature is quite unique, except your karmic debt you have to pay back on is quite heavy too. That's why this line, you have to go through all the you're a bit like Eckhart Tolle had to suffer through depression, but maybe that is your way to awakening. Without that suffering, it cannot trigger off that causes and condition. So sometimes suffering is a blessing. Don't be too pessimistic and always think, how come I so child? How come I so like different from others? Means you're a user. No, your time hasn't come. Like what I used to share with Kayamita. All of you that have the condition to be Kayamitas with my nature, you have your past. Otherwise, you cannot meet me at that. That is the faith you must have. And with that faith, you go all out. Yeah. That's what Alicia do. Ocean, they all do. Your Amy, they all those cultivator that have the faith, they progress very fast. It's the faith, sincerity, and perseverance that makes the difference and transform. Even now, Pamasuri also different really. Even Man, even PG, a lot of them is so different now. And those who are serious, you can see, even Hurong, LC, they always see. Those who come to the classes very regularly, means they have faith and they really progress. And now at the retreat, you will see even the new people like Chan and the wife and wife. Even Brother Wong is also now starting to move. And Singapore, we have a few, maybe even the Kong Chai, then Michael, I think, there's another one. And all these people, the other one is Chan. Okay, you see, this year is coming for the retreat, he bring the sun the way. I tell you, they are going to transform and move because he also have affinity on his Philippine duty done. That's why the timing is so perfect. After that, our retreat, then they decide to come. Well, last time I used to say you have the time, the condition come. I said, Brother, you know, the mother need his attention, the brother, the sister, or a lot of Philippine, a lot of like love and compassion for the mother. So they sacrifice a lot. But in the meantime, when they are taking care of the mother, they listen and they come across my sharing in the YouTube. For that, must thank Jin Hao and his daughter Liao and the sister and all those that help out to develop the website, including Hsuan, Brother Teo, and many. So all these are courses in Canadian. Then through listening, he only met me a few times in Singapore. He hasn't come for the retreat, but he listened almost every video. He listened. And when I went to Singapore, I rejoiced because he can understand many part of what I share. And sometimes during the lunch, he will share. And then after that, he said, "But dear, your teaching is very different." He learned. He also hear from other monks and all those things, but so different. Totally cannot touch that level of understanding that is being shared and manifested. So all this, if you really have your past, you will actually have the causes and condition to manifest and receive. So through all this observation of what fellow Kayamita has actually developed the progress and how they start and how they actually came across my sharing. A lot of them, almost all of them, they actually don't know me. But somehow, because of affinity, it just fall into place. And this is not something you think, laugh. No such thing. It's your affinity. If it's not because of affinity, you cannot encounter. But this affinity also very strange. Maybe I dwell a bit into it. You see, like this line, if you really reflect and contemplate on how you actually go through the search for truth and all those things, even I think Pamasuri also got shared before, searching for so long cannot find and suddenly find. But even suddenly find also take quite long to actually develop the understanding. But at least there is condition, affinity. And affinity is such, you may not understand how it arises and how it manifests on. So sometimes through your sincerity, your kindness, your affinity, you just happen to have the condition, then you did something wholesome, good, like my parents. They don't know me. They were ordinary lay people, but they are very kind, very sincere, not educated most of the time. But they express that human kindness, understand? Then certainly because of affinity, they encounter me in past life. Then they don't know who I am, but they serve me, they care for me, they treat me. Uh, then my nature understand. I send the POV. That's it. Then this life, they become my parent. But that is the easiest way to take them across. And there are many ways to cultivate affinity. Sometimes you pay respect, triple jam, when you go to temple, you have faith. In the early day, most of us, before we know the Dhamma, we also just follow what our parents teach us or take us. And I remember in the early day, my mother always take me to all this Quan Im Bio, the type of miao, not really the monastery. But for me, no problem. But when I go to all those so-called bio, I don't know why I can only pay respect to Sakyamuni Buddha, Kwanyin Bodhisattva, all the four great things, and even Amitabha Buddha, very natural. But the rest, I cannot. I just out of compassion, yeah, or love for my mother to prevent misunderstanding. I just hold the joystick and I count 1 to 10. I just offer because I also at that time don't know why. Then later I came to realize why. Because my nature from the past will understand which are the great beings, which are the cultivator, which are the one that really has the wisdom and the understanding and the teaching. So it know how to choose. It know how to actually act on and flow and develop all this understanding. Then when it started, the search, the book come, the teacher come, the guide come, everything come. I actually didn't go and look for them, but condition arise, it arrives. And I don't have to go through suffering to learn all this. Because when the time comes, the nature activated, like I told you, the Bodhi mind, because of the power and all those things, then it know how to probe, it know how to search at a very young age. So all these are signs and example that you can learn. So determine, treasure all this, appreciate life, like Manyan say. Then everywhere you encounter the triple gem, make sure you cultivate affinity, you pay respect, you thank them for their guidance, protection, and whatever blessings. So all this, continue to have goodness, kindness, cultivate the noble eightfold path extensively, develop right view profoundly, stabilize it, and all these are going to give rise to fantastic causes and conditions for your future coming. And the yellow card, Aditan, evoke power of merits, everything. And the Bodhisattva vow can take you very far. That's why that one, make sure it's stabilized. So that life after life you arise. That vow will carry through and deliver the understanding and the progress. The extensive understanding is very important. That leads to the whole cultivation. Then when you have reached certain stage of stability of cultivation, that time very easy already. Every time you come, you are beautiful. And life is really wonderful, rewarding. And the sacrifice is just this life. How many more years to sacrifice? Maybe for most of us, another 20 years. But for me, no more, I think. Maybe maximum 10 over years. My mom passed away at 89. Actually, if the body is already too weak, you extend your life also not much use. Provided the body can still function, then there is meaning to life and stuff. Otherwise, just let things be. Because whatever there is of the nature to arise is of the nature to pass or cease. Or the affinity, it has its causes and conditions. So while there are causes and conditions, or it manifests, make use of it. These are very important. Oh, sorry. Alicia, pass back to you 6 more minutes. You can have the rest of your time. Sorry.
Brother actually talking about 这个
嗯
讲这个12因缘，最近我有一个 encounter，它是这样子的，有一天因为以前我有12年前我有 post 过我的小狗的照片在 Facebook，
对
So after that 那天晚上它就 pop up， 我就看了一下，然后这个就一看了之后，这个 mundane mind 要去做故事了，然后就给你来 you know 要 arise 那种哎呀，这个小冬瓜应该现在已经搬走了吗？他已经不在了，所以他就要 arise 那个 thinking of 好像哇，以前我以前有多照顾他，有多他那种要上来，我看着他要上来了，他自己这样灭下去 ，and then after that，我就第二天他的 contemplation 就 come to me like 当你如果去抓咧，你就有那个
That is how attachment
becoming
attachment trigger of becoming.
Yes.
Because you go and cling without knowing it. Not to say you cannot have that memory, but don't attach and just like what you mentioned. Oh, that small dog. How I take care and how I actually sacrifice and do. No point. But you can have the memory, but you will know one. All these are no more a reality. It's the causes and condition and affinity at that moment, at that time. That's it, finished. That's why when you penetrate and develop all this understanding, then the phenomenal world of consciousness, they have no more power over you. But doesn't mean that you cannot live life. Doesn't mean that you everything also not real, just to care. No. Wonderful existence means that you understand there is meaning to life. That existence take a turn and become beautiful, wonderful. And that's what understanding is all about. When you understand, then everything become wonderful. But when you don't understand, then you become like extreme. You hold on to extreme views. Your perception of the world is like very, very negative. Then you can come out with a lot of wrong understanding. But the true awakening actually transform the cultivator. They will not become like that. Very good, Sadhu.
Yeah, actually, Brent 他的 contemplation 第二天又 arise automatic， 他又看到 actually 他如果你有那个 feeling actually 你的 feeling， 他的 feeling 还是如果你
他就拉你过去了。
对，哇，it was like 哇 ，it's so wonderful experience for me to see all this.
Yeah, yours is a good example. Yeah, it's the dog that you like so much, you love so much, you spend a lot of time. A lot of people cannot let go of their own children. No, they hold on to that memory. Oh, I gave birth to them. Life was so difficult at that time, and they were so. You remember all the good things. Then finally you recall what they did to you. Then you become very frustrated. All these are attachment, clinging, grasping to the phenomenal world without understanding. That's why the human being without Dhamma, they really suffer. And the karmic entanglement, I tell you, unending one. You can see it everywhere. And all the suffering, the misery, and the conflict, the war. 很好 good, sadhu. 你 continue?
Yeah, Brother Dio, actually, after that, that understanding came to me. Then I
Mm.
recall Brother Dio say, contemplate until very
Yeah, very, very clear.
所以
Yeah,
所以这个给我的 teaching 是非常好的，让
yeah,
我
yeah.
看到但是他是 Brother Dio 他的怎样讲，他的 understanding 好像他自己会 cut off 这
Yeah,
样，
对，
他就
他自
停在那
己
边。
了解了啊，他就不会想了的，because 没意义了的。It's just that phase， understand 了？过了就过了，just like 广清老和尚 the famous say， 过去心不可得，未来心不可得，现在心也不可得。What is there to lament on? What is there to hold on, cling on, to through memory create all this? That is not the Dhamma way. The Dhamma way is you must know the phenomenal world is the world existence, and existence can be related to time. That's the 3 period of time, which is the reality. The first past is already gone, no more reality. 不可得. So don't waste time on that. You want to use it to help others to learn. Okay, but don't attack, don't cling. Like my teacher say, you can learn, but no attachment. So all this understanding that 过去心, the future has yet to come, not a reality. Why you go and project your thought and go and trigger all the fear, the insecurity, the worry, the anxiety? Learn to live the moment. And when you learn to live the moment, the pure awareness nature can give you the understanding that this is the highest in life. But to transcend life, you have to transcend even the pure awareness nature. But that one is still within existence. That's why 广清老和尚 he know 现在心也不可得. The present moment is also not a reality, which is part of existence. And that profound understanding, only the cultivator of the way that have penetrated can understand. So all these are illusion, no reality. So when you develop all this, no need to practice letting go. The wisdom straight away free you. And you will know, like I used to share with Kayamitan the other day, you will reach a point where you will have that type of understanding. Think also like that, don't think also. No reality on whether you continue with the thought process through the existent phase or not. No different. The world is the world. Existence will continue to evolve, whether you are there or you are not there. And all this, they are understanding you need to awaken, and you need very, very penetrative understanding to awaken to all this. And you have to stabilize all this understanding. Means, well, as you cultivate the Bodhisattva way, it will take longer and longer period of stability of understanding until you reach the phase where all this understanding will not be lost. That's why how come this segment of my life I come. This one nobody teach me. No book write. But how come I can retain all this understanding and share with you and teach it to you? It is not from my memory, my knowledge. It's from my nature's understanding. Once you stabilize it, that's why I contemplate until very, very clear. Means if this life also not clear, future life you come, you don't stand a chance to understand all this. But because it has been developed until such stability, that's why whatever arises within any segment of my coming, that nature will trigger off the understanding. that this is all already in the vow, planted as causes and condition for this nature to arise, to receive all this understanding. That's why I say, this life I never do anything. I just arise, accord and flow. And all this manifests naturally, based on causes and conditions. And you also understand that there is no being within. But that segment of my nature's coming perform its function to fulfill its vow and share with the world whatever that need to be shared. And this particular segment, it has the causes and conditions. The same Maitreya came, Guan Yin came, their nature message. Then it just do its work. Then because of causes and conditions, you all, as Kayamita came, volunteer and set up all this. Like I told you in my house, all the images, you look at it. I never actually wanted any, but they just come. Then the website, the book, the transcript, they just come. That's enough. I never carry them along. And to me, finish means finish. Whether this one benefit people or not important. Because those that have affinity will receive. Those that don't have the affinity can never receive. Even they see it, they hear it, they cannot make head or tail of it. They will not be interested. But those that have affinity, very strange. The moment they listen or they hear it, they actually inside move, activated. Then they will know how to come and they will know how to pursue and all this. Okay, we better stop. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you so much, Alicia, for developing the good understanding and the condition for this to be shared. Today, I want to remember, you want to listen again and again. It will help a lot of cultivator. Okay, so let us rejoice one more time. Then we end. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let us share merits. Akasatta ca bhumata deva naga mahindika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakantu loka sasana Ittawata camihi sampadan punya sampadan sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo Idang menya tinang kotu sukita hontunya tayo devo asadakalina sasa sampati hetu cha fito bhavatu loko cha raja bhavatu dhammiko imina punyang kamina Mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yawani vana patiya sadhu sadhu sadhu. Okay, you can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Let me end sadhu.